Hey everyone, my name is Kendra Mueller and I am the director for Not Just a Shot. So in this video, I'm going to go through a little bit about me and what Not Just a Shot means and kind of the inspiration behind creating it. I've been making videos for about the last 7 to 8 years, but none of that experience has really been documentary experience. It's all been weddings or internal or promotional videos for businesses or nonprofits. It's not really been large projects like documentaries. It's been I show up, I shoot, and they're like, okay, is this going to be done by Thursday? So this was kind of a unique experience for me, being able to spend months of time on a single project and really do it to the best of my ability. I've been playing disc golf for about the past 3.5 to 4 years. If you are active in the competitive scene in the Southwest Michigan area, you've probably either seen me at a tournament or seen my name on the MA3 list, although I will be rating out of MA3 and MA2 here this season. But disc golf kind of filled a very specific role in my life. I kind of went through a rough period of my life over the last couple years, from early 2021 to middle of 2022. It was kind of a rough stretch. And so disc golf, all the friends that I've made, all of the people that I met at tournaments, it was just great having, the disc golf community. They were super important for me during that time. And so I have a full-time job. I work second shift. When I'm working on my video stuff, it's when I'm not at work, so everyone else is at their actual jobs. And so what I would do is I would do my video editing. I'd throw up a YouTube video, disc golf YouTube video up on the other screen, and it would kind of be like I'm just, working alongside a friend. I've got my disc golf buddy talking on the other screen, and, it was a super comforting thing. It almost felt like I was just hanging out with a buddy. And so I would watch Simon Lizotte vlogs, I would watch Scott Stokely tutorials, just coverage, tournament coverage, anything disc golf related. And so I had been watching Scott Stokely's videos ever since Simon Lizotte posted that video where he had Scott on and they were playing at Maple Hill. Scott threw that forehand under the leg over the water, which was insane. And so Simon says, oh yeah, this guy's a legend. And at this point, I only knew really who Simon was. I might have seen a couple of Scott's tutorials, but I was like, wow, if Simon says Scott's a legend, then he must be a legend. And so I looked into him a little bit more. I was like, wow, yeah. He number 2 after Climo for years, and absolutely insane. But then he was gone for over a decade. Like, this guy is wild. And so ever since seeing that video, I watched Scott's videos and followed his tutorials, his course, tournament round updates. When he announced that he was going back on tour, I was following him as he went on tour, and we were debating, me and my friends, and I think the whole disc golf world was debating, is Scott going to be viable on the Pro Tour? That was the big question. He's kind of a wild card. He hasn't really competed at this level for years, almost decades. So there's a big question mark there. But watching Scott's videos, I kind of felt like I kind of had a better grasp on what was going on with Scott in his season than most people did. And so I was kind of going through this rough stretch. Scott was obviously, if you watch the documentary, he was going through a rough stretch with his season. And so I felt for him. He was struggling with health issues, showing up late, which is honestly pretty embarrassing. You never want to see that happening. And I was rooting for him the whole time, and I was like, man, he's kind of falling apart this season. He built up the expectations, and he's just not really following through. And so as soon as I heard about the skins match, I was like, all right, this could be either really good or really bad. And so I hear about his shot in the skins match and that he won. And I'm like, no way. He did it. After all of his struggles, he pulled it together and did something great. And I was like, man, good for him. And it didn't really click, how powerful of a moment that was until I watched it. And, that's when all the puzzle pieces fit together. And I knew there's something here. There's a story that needs to be told. A lot has gone into creating this documentary. It's almost been as much of a roller coaster as the documentary itself, honestly. But it all starts in the 70s when Scott starts playing disc golf on the first disc golf course that exists. He grows up in his childhood. He's playing disc golf every day. And then he becomes, obviously, the number 2 player under Climo. And he builds this legacy and reputation in the disc golf world as being one of the greats. And then he leaves disc golf and he pursues other careers. He's gone for over a decade. And he kind of, drops off as he thought until he comes back. And if you've seen the documentary, you've seen all this or you know all this. He comes back and he's shocked that people still know him. And he kind of built himself up to be this great teacher of disc golf, still playing some tournaments, but he's mostly teaching. And not only building a reputation back as a great player, but a great teacher. And his YouTube channel pops off. He makes all these great tutorials. And he really cements himself again in the disc golf world as one of the greats. He feels that competitive itch, and he comes back and he decides that he wants to compete in the Pro Tour again. And I'm watching all of his videos at this point. I'm following along, and it was a really compelling, idea that this guy would come back from retirement, try to compete in the Pro Tour, because I'm telling myself, of course, he's gonna kill it. And so I follow his videos. He gets in shape. He does all his practice. He's super prepared, super excited for the Pro Tour, and I'm rooting for him. I'm like, man, get this. You can. I thought he could do this, and so he posts his first tournament and recap, and he's struggling right off the bat. He's got health issues. He's late to a hole, which is not only just a 4-stroke penalty, but kind of an embarrassing thing to happen. The context of this pro coming back, he built himself up to this reputation of being a great player, and he set these expectations for himself in his videos and in the community where there's this air of mystery. He's got the reputation for being great, and he tells everyone, I'm going to be great. I'm going to try to win Pro Tour events. I'm going to be a severe competitor on the Pro Tour. Expectations are up here. And then he starts going into his videos, health issues, being late for that hole, just general struggles on the course. These expectations that he set for himself and the world set for him are not being met. And it was kind of just kind of disappointing, honestly. It's kind of sad, watching his scores every week, and he's, down the lowest third of the pack, and it's not what we were expecting. I'm sure it's definitely not what he was expecting. And then the skins match comes, and I had been following him, so I knew about the state of the season, and I didn't actually watch the skins match right away. I heard from friends, I heard from everyone on social media that he just killed it. He threw one of the most incredible shots anyone had ever seen, and it just wound through the trees and didn't hit a single thing. And he won the skins match, which included Calvin Heimberg, Simon Lizotte, and Brody Smith, who was at that time still pretty new. He was still playing really good. But Calvin Heimberg and Simon Lizotte, he beat both of them in a skins match with that one shot that was clutch. It was insane. It obviously went viral over the entire disc golf world. I just kind of took a deep breath and I was like, oh man, he struggled so hard in this season. He did it. He came back and he won the skins match, and he kind of proved himself after all of the struggles that he had that season. I was like, good for him. I kind of felt a sigh of relief until I watched it. And I watched his throw, which was absolutely insane, and the crowd screaming. It's It's an incredible video, super powerful to watch. And then I saw the speech that he gave at the end of the Skins match, accepting his trophy. And that's when the light bulb went off.